Well, if you're tuning into this program in the hope that for the third night in a row, I will begin by reading new passages of a 69-page civil complaint in a lawsuit filed in Manhattan on Monday accusing Rudolph Giuliani of sexual harassment, sexual assault, withholding wages, federal income tax evasion, and selling pardons for $2 million, which he split with Donald Trump, I am sorry to disappoint you. For the last two nights, I have read to you all of the most important passages in that 69-page complaint that I can actually say on television. As grotesque as most of what I've already read to you this week sounds, it does not include the most graphic parts of the complaint. Rudolph Giuliani has stayed absolutely silent for the now more than 48 hours that these written accusations were made public in court. On Monday afternoon, a spokesperson for Giuliani issued a written statement saying that he denies the accusations. That's it. If you're wondering why there hasn't been much more coverage of this lawsuit on television, it might be because there are so few parts of the complaint that can actually be read on television. The most serious accusation in the document that includes Donald Trump is about selling pardons for $2 million during the Trump presidency. As I mentioned on Monday, when I read that passage to you, it appears on the same page in the complaint where there is a screenshot of Rudolph Giuliani's text to his employee, Noelle Dunphy, who is suing him, saying, "Can I shower with you?" On the top of that page is the story about the $2 million pardons. Quote, Giuliani also asked Ms. Dunphy if she knew anyone in need of a pardon, telling her that he was selling pardons for $2 million, which he and President Trump would split. He told Ms. Dunphy that she could refer individuals seeking pardons to him so long as they did not go through the normal channels of the Office of the Pardon Attorney, because correspondence going to that office would be subject to disclosure under the Freedom of Information Act. Rudolph Giuliani has let that accusation sit for over 2 full days now, while he maintains complete silence about it. Donald Trump's last Senate-confirmed Attorney General was asked about the possibility of Rudolph Giuliani selling $2 million pardons. And he didn't exactly offer a strong defense.
I want to ask you two more things. One is a 70-page complaint that was filed in state court in New York on Monday. This is someone who worked for Rudy Giuliani, who alleges not only sexual assault and harassment, but that she has evidence that he tried to sell pardons for $2 million apiece, which he and President Trump would split. Do you think that that's possible?
I'm skeptical about that. I don't think Rudy Giuliani would do that. I hope he wouldn't. But I don't know.
I don't know. I hope he wouldn't, but I don't know. William Barr knows Rudolph Giuliani well. William Barr knows Donald Trump well. And when asked if those two could have teamed up to sell $2 million pardons and split the money, William Barr's answer is, I don't know. Ask that question of any other attorney general who was not appointed by Donald Trump or Richard Nixon, and you would get a very, very strong answer to that accusation, a very strong defense against an accusation like that. But to the question, was Rudy Giuliani selling pardons for $2 million and splitting the money with Donald Trump? William Barr's best answer, as we saw him think about it, pause and think about it, his best answer is, I don't know. Donald Trump's answer to questions on CNN last week might have provoked one of his lawyers to quit. About the documents the FBI seized with a search warrant from Donald Trump's residence in Florida, Donald Trump said, "I took the documents. I'm allowed to." He actually said those words. Today, Timothy Parlatore, one of the lawyers defending Donald Trump in Special Prosecutor Jack Smith's criminal investigation of Donald Trump, quit. Jack Smith served a subpoena on Mr. Parlatore that forced him to testify to the grand jury investigating the documents case. Last month, in a letter to the Republican-controlled House Intelligence Committee, Mr. Parlatore said that the documents ended up in Florida by accident. It's just a mistake. He claimed that the Trump staff, quote, quickly packed everything into boxes and shipped them to Florida. He claimed that none of the classified documents ended up at the Trump Florida residence because of, quote, intentional decisions by President Trump. Donald Trump turned that letter into a lie on CNN last week when he said, "I took the documents. I'm allowed to." Donald Trump, in effect, repeatedly labeled that lawyer's letter that was sent to Congress as false.
Why did you take those documents with you when you left the White House?
I had every right to under the Presidential Records Act. You have the Presidential Records Act. I was there and I took what I took and it gets declassified.
Why did you not turn them over when you got a subpoena
Because we were
asking for you to turn
negotiating
them
with
over?
them. We were negotiating with them. And by the way, they become automatically declassified when I took them.
And now the lawyer whose letter to Congress completely disagrees with that has quit. The automatically declassified defense is apparently under more stress than ever tonight, with CNN reporting on the contents of a letter from the National Archives to Donald Trump, informing him that the archives is going to hand over to Special Prosecutor Jack Smith 16 records. The letter says the 16 records in question all reflect communications involving close presidential advisors, some of them directed to you personally, concerning whether, why, and how you should declassify certain classified records. If none of those documents say that Donald Trump could automatically declassify documents simply by taking them home, then Donald Trump will be in even more trouble when Jack Smith gets those documents scheduled to be delivered to him from the National Archives next week. In Manhattan, where Donald Trump is a criminal defendant, he received some clarification from the district attorney about the other crimes the district attorney believes Donald Trump intended to commit as a result of committing the crime of falsifying business records to cover up Donald Trump's $130,000 cash payment of hush money to actress Stormy Daniels. In a court filing, the district attorney said, quote, "The crimes defendant intended to commit or to aid or conceal may include violations of New York election law, New York tax law, New York penal law, or violations of the Federal Election Campaign Act."